dimension not only of sight, sound, but of mind.
You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to
the inner limits. And now here's your host, Marco.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the Inner Limits today, this evening, whatever time your clock says. I'm Marco Watkins, and let me tell you why, in case you're not sure why you tuned into this show, what the show is all about. It's about personal growth, self-motivation, human spirit, the inner limits, which is really a misnomer, because as human beings, we have no limits. That's the purpose. Now, the limits are... See if you can search in your life and find out where your own imaginary limits came from. Probably somebody else told you that you couldn't do something, and once you buy it, you're stuck with it until you overcome the limit. This is very prevalent in today, overcoming what you think are your own limits. That's what the show is about. What the show is about, how this show got on the air, the TV that you're looking at, was a little brain synapse firing in somebody's head, I don't know, how 100 years ago? Okay, 48 years ago, whatever it was a brain cell. And somebody went, pow! Pictures through waves. And now it's a TV in every room. How did it get from in here somewhere to out there into your living room? That is what the show is about, the inner limits. So if you're not sure why you might want to watch this show, then keep watching. And something will come up, and you will get clues along the way as to why you're going to enjoy this show. I'm very excited about the show today. And I'm required by law to say that. I mean, does any host, Letterman, ever come out and say, you know, the show really kind of stinks, don't have much for you, but, you know, if you're tired of I Love Lucy reruns, then, you know, you might as well keep it here. No, I'm very excited. I've been thinking about this all weekend. Now, one thing I'm going to do that we don't normally do in TV land, which I'm going to do a lot of things. You're going to see a lot here that you don't normally see on this little screen. But I'm going to tell you when it is, right now, real time, here in the studio. It's 5 days away from Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. This is our Christmas show, and you may be watching it in July or a rerun of it in March or what have you on St. Paddy's Day, but here in the studio, it's 5 days away from Christmas. And just so you know, the festive, I mean, we have our little Christmas tree. Oh, you can't see it. Brought my little Christmas tree. Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, and I don't think Santa's coming, but you never know. Ho, ho, ho. I have a guest coming on today. Very exciting guest. Now, you remember in previous weeks, we discussed this book right here. And you could zoom in, but later, you know, we'll just splice in a close-up later. I can say close-up. I get paid to speak. There we go. There we go. Enlightenment 101 by Marco Watkins. I understand he's a very clever author. And it's kind of a vague term which is kind of tossed around as the end result of years and years of turmoil and struggle after you go to India a couple times, or you go to the mountains of Tibet, et cetera, et cetera. And it's really not the case, but we'll discuss a little bit more about that later on. The gentleman that we're going to be having on today is a friend of mine who I've known for quite some time, and we've done a bunch of things together. And he's taught me, and I've taught him. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And in his book that he has just written, From Sex to Superconsciousness. Oh, sorry, wrong fella. Kind of looks like him, though. His book. See, I'll show you a picture of him, and you can kind of see. We'll get that there. Hey, look at that. Almost, might in a couple of years, might be this fellow. Anyways, he owns a Safe Haven Chiropractic in Lake Tahoe, where we've originally met, and we'll talk about how that happened, a little connect-the-dots games. He's adjusted me many a times, and boy, did I need adjusting. Perhaps that's why you're watching the show. Maybe you need an adjustment here in life today. An attitude adjustment, a checkup from the neck up. Anyways, he's the gentleman who I go to see when my back is up against the wall. A gentleman who believes that trees are the main cause of forest fires. It's my pleasure to hear on the Inner Limits. Welcome, my good friend, Dr. Stu Bittman, to the studio. It cuts off our head. I don't think we didn't count for that. All right, now we can sit down. Dr. Stu!
How's it going?
Welcome to the studios of the Inner Limits.
It's great to be here in beautiful Roseville.
And you are required by law to say it's great to be on, whatever show.
Okay, we got that out of the way.
That's right, we did. How did we get to be here in this studio? Do you remember how it was that we met? All of a sudden I arrived in, this gentleman, me, arrived limping and in pain, arrived in your doctor's office.
Yeah, that was about it.
Uh-huh. And you said, no, I
limped out without pain.
That's right. I threw away my crutches.
That's right. I still have them.
That's good. I actually came to you via, and I don't remember her name. She's a very boisterous gal in Lake Tahoe. She does,
thank you, Master.
And I can't remember her name offhand.
Well, you got me.
But she referred me to your office, and I called actually in town. There's another, it's not a Bittman, though, is it? Is there another Dr. Bittman in
it's
town?
close.
Stu?
It's
Under B's or something? Anyways, I called
close
him.
to Bittman.
I called, and I said, you know, there was a feeling, and I said, not the right guy. But for this or that, I could have gone out there instead. And here we are. So when did you start Safe Haven Chiropractic?
Started Safe Haven Chiropractic in November of 1993.
Wow, okay.
After I'd actually been a chiropractor in South Lake Tahoe since '86, but we used to have a different name.
Oh.
It wasn't so safe.
Right.
Until '93.
Right.
And we moved out to beautiful Myers.
Wow, okay. It was someplace different?
We were right in town before that.
Ah, yes. Right in town.
Right
such
in
as it was.
right in
back,
the big city.
Back when it was, 10,000 people.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so Safe Haven. What's up with that?
Well, we named it Safe Haven because we consider it to be a safe haven.
Come on.
From the lunacies of the world out there.
Yeah, lunacies. What lunacy?
Well, I think kind of what you were just talking about. A lot of people too stuck in their heads makes for a lot of lunacy. And there's a lot of unsafe situation out there in the healthcare realm, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we decided that we would have a little center for the community to feel safe and to take a moment out from the mayhem and chaos that's out there.
Let's do that. Let's take a moment out from the chaos that's out there right now. And since it is our Christmas show, I brought us beverages. There we go.
All right, thank you.
Mazel tov.
L'chaim.
Right, l'chaim.
Open mine.
See this? See this? That just about tops everything, doesn't it? I will wait for you. It's a pleasure to break water.
We don't believe in germs. That's
Right,
one of the
and
things
I didn't anyway. So there you go. Cheers. Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
What a relief it is.
See, back in the green room, they're having rum and eggnog and all that stuff. And everyone, you guys keep going in there. You bet. Hey, it's pretty good.
It is good.
Straight from the Tahoe Springs.
Is it?
Crystal Geyser. I recall your first book was, sitting in the waiting room, and you had this book. It was kind of like stapled together. It was done on a Xerox machine, It was just some typing stuff. It was really fascinating stuff. And so you've obviously had this book floating around your head for quite some time. A brain synapse just firing, and all of a sudden now it's in reality.
Actually, I know that I'm going to write 8 books, but 6 of them have not been written yet.
Wow. Sit back, relax.
Well, thank you.
There you go. Take a load off. Load off. Isn't that a town, Load Off, California?
It's south of here.
Right. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, 8 books. That's fantastic. And you know this.
This one, may I?
Sure, your book.
Even though this one sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, right. Well, we can discuss that a little bit later on.
This one, actually, I've spent my entire life writing.
Wow.
Because it's the story of how I've moved from here to here. Here there's nothing but limits, and here there's no limits. I think that's just to back up what you said before.
No, that's the entire gist
Okay, good.
the show, of life. And if you didn't understand, the sign language is getting from your head to your heart.
And the name of the book is Between Heaven and a Hard Place, the metaphor being that the hard place is here and heaven is here. Just to clarify the geography for you all.
Huh. All right. Well, I finally got the title from. Go ahead and let's hold this up for the audience here. I'm going to do this, and we'll splice it up later. Wait. Actually, give me camera 3, would you? Thank you. Oh, it's out of focus. Now, is this actually a picture of you, Stu?
It sure does look like me.
It does. It has the
supposedly
little...
the publisher created that on
Really?
the
Because it
computer.
has that little lip of your hair in the sunlight, in the light.
I don't know how she did that.
Okay? Between heaven and a hard place.
The
There's
place
a
is
gentleman.
real, though. I don't know who the person is.
Right. There's a gentleman standing on top of a hill and looking into a fog-enshrouded valley.
Yeah, kind of like out here today.
Kind of like out here, yeah. I was looking at this over the weekend. The hard place, the head. Have you been told you have a hard head? Take that as a yes. They don't tell you that, do they? Okay.
They're all nodding back there.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. It's the eggnog and rum. And heaven in a hard place. Any of you out there interested in getting to heaven? I mean, the heaven that is on the book. I mean, I remembered of an old joke about the young kid in the church, and the preacher says, "How many of you out there want to go to heaven?" And they all raise their hands. Except this little Johnny in the front. He says, he's sitting there and he's not raising his hand. And the kid, and he says again, "Now I say unto you, how many of you out there want to go to heaven?" And he says, "Johnny, how come you didn't raise your hand? Don't you want to go to heaven?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "I thought you were talking about now." Now, so here on this time around, while we're here, the heaven. What is the heaven?
Well, heaven is spirit, and spirit in chiropractic we call innate intelligence. And it's just a couple of words. But our whole philosophy is based on the fact that we have a little personification of the divine that, again, we call innate intelligence, and it's part and parcel of what we call universal intelligence. And innate, therefore, is our connection to that. So when we're in that place, when we're living in our heart, and we're allowing our innate intelligence to run the show, what we tend to experience is our gifts and our wholeness and our full potential, and you could call that heaven.
Open. Receiving. Om. Repeat after me. Om. Everybody, send us positive light. This is a pure light source portal. Stu, take two. I'm going to ask Dr. Stu to tell us a little bit about chiropractic. How many of you out there have never been to a chiropractor? Okay, so how many of you would be going for the first time? Okay, what's the difference between, like, what is chiropractic and why did you choose to do this? I mean, obviously you want to be of service to humanity, to humans. So chiropractic as opposed to...
I did. When I was a child, my favorite toy was a baby carriage and a doll. Made the neighbors very nervous, but I think it was a premonition of... I actually wanted to be a medical doctor for most of my childhood.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
But spirit led me in another direction, and actually a direction that's 180 degrees opposite of what I thought I was going to be doing. Because chiropractic is very misunderstood.
Right.
Most people think it's a therapy for back pain.
Right.
It's helpful for back pain, but that's not really what it is. It's not originally what it was, and we've been around for 109 years now, and people still don't know what we're doing, which is kind of interesting. But originally, chiropractic had nothing to do with backs.
Really?
Yes. In fact, the way that chiropractic started was somebody got their hearing restored.
What's that?
They got.
Sorry.
We didn't give you the right adjustment, apparently.
Right, okay.
But it was years before it became about backs. It was the idea of chiropractic is that the greatest doctor in the universe is inside of each one of us, and it knew how to build us, knows how to rebuild us, and it knows how to do, they say, 600 with 24 zeros things in every 1 second. This is what our innate intelligence is capable of doing. That's a few.
Wait a second. What is that? 600?
600 octillion, somebody told me.
Octillion?
Yes.
24 zeros?
Yes. I got that
functions
from, I got
every
that
second.
from Deepak Chopra.
Well, you know, I was going to bring it up. Right, body-mind connection.
He said that every cell in the body is capable of doing 6 trillion things
right.
in 1 second, and there's approximately 100 trillion cells in the body, so I just multiplied.
Right, okay.
and you get 600 with 24 zeros.
All right, so that...
And then people come to me and they think I can do better than that. And so the first thing I have to tell them is, you're nuts. Because I can't even balance my checkbook. Rubbing my belly and patting my head was an accomplishment.
Okay. All right.
So 600 with 24 zeros is beyond my ability to do better than. But 600 with 24...
You tell people that they're nuts, that
Yes,
they think
nuts.
you can do better
They're
than
nuts. So my job is to allow the greatest doctor in the world, which is inside of them, to work with less interference. That's my job, because if there was no interference, then that intelligence would be capable of creating health, creating harmony, creating balance, creating all the things that we want in life from the inside out.
The inner limits.
The inner limits, that's right. And what we're mostly concerned about, as most people know, is the spine, because the bones of the spine have been designed and created to protect the nerves, and the nerves are how this intelligence expresses itself in the body.
The central cortex.
Right. So when there's no interference to the nerve system, then the innate intelligence of the body can express its wisdom in its totality, and we just don't do any better than that.
And interference called a subluxation.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I learned that from the good
And
doctor.
subluxation, by the way, is an interesting term. It's originally was coined as a very mechanical term, something less than a dislocation. But as it turns out, in Latin, lux is light, or divine light.
Really?
And ation is condition of, and sub is less than. So anything less than a condition of 100% light is a subluxation. And that's what we're at Chiropractic is about, removing subluxations by basically taking the bone off the nerve.
Right.
And through the process of doing that for decades, people apparently started feeling better in their backs. And in an attempt to be accepted in a world that thought differently, we've kind of held on to that back thing, and that's kind of what chiropractic has become. But again, that's not really what it is in principle.
Right. I've just realized, I've just had an aha moment. My life is a subluxation.
Most of ours are.
Less than 100% pure light. Perhaps you're not sure what we're talking about here on this show, but I believe you are. That's why you're here. That's why you were led to this show. I'm directed to share this. That was a little note that I got one day. It says, I am teaching that you may learn. When you learn, go teach. When you teach, you will learn. Love God. And the misnomer, which is you are a wonderful teacher, speaker, you speak all over the place, you're an author, so you share information. Now, the misnomer there is that when one teaches, then that would, I'll read the other quote, and I did write it down here. What does your master teach? Asked the visitor. Nothing, said the disciple. Then why does he give discourses? He only points the way, he teaches nothing. The visitor couldn't make sense of this, so the disciple made it clearer. If the master were to teach, we would make beliefs out of his teachings. The master is not concerned with what we believe, only with what we see. So then if we just go around believing other teachings, then it just merely becomes
Dogma.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Dogma. That's right.
I saw your butt.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And your karma just ran over my dogma. I'll splice in a close-up of this button later on. It says, my karma just ran over your dogma. Right?
It's beautiful.
So, if life is a subluxation, less than 100% light, it means that we are merely following some other dogmas. Do you happen to, like, talk about any of that in your books, Stu?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what the whole book is about.
Okay.
That's what chiropractic is about.
All right.
Because, again, if we were tapped in or tuned in or connected to the messages we get from the inside out, then they would be 100% right for us.
Right.
And since most people are disconnected from that, mostly because we're not taught to look within for the answers,
right,
then we look outside of ourselves and, we latch on to the first attractive
Right, there you go. It looks good,
belief
sounds
system that
good.
comes along.
I'll do it, right? So it makes good. And you know, if you're out there and you're not sure where to go, what path, you pick one which sounds right.
And that's all head stuff.
Yeah, it's all head stuff.
And you can tell when somebody's, you know, defending their head stuff because they tend to get angry.
That does not compute.
Right? Yeah.
You know, this is right from the book.
Right.
That's one of the things our brains do best. First of all, the scientists say we only have access to a very small fraction of the energies that are bombarding us, but out of that little tiny perspective, we create what we call reality, and we think it's a big picture, but there's very little chance that we're going to create the same reality as the next person.
Right.
But we forget that, and we defend our position, and we try to manipulate others so that they'll conform to our position, and no wonder we're all so nuts. Easing God out.
Right. You can't say I wrote EGO. I should have a big black marker or a whiteboard or PowerPoint. I'll just put it
And that's true. In the book, I talk about what I call my schmutz brigade.
Okay.
Editor didn't like the original term I had in there.
Okay.
Schmutz is Yiddish for dirt, really.
Right.
So you'd say you have a little schmutz on you.
Uh-huh.
But I use that in exchange for a word that's similar sounding.
Okay.
And I refer to my ego and my programming and my belief systems and the stuff I've accepted to be as true as my schmutz brigade, and it's really schmutzy because it's, and I don't know about you people, but when I'm in my head and I'm listening to my schmutz brigade, it's all about what I can't do. It's all about limits. And it's all about how bad I am, and it's all about how, and that's crazy.
Maybe now we're getting to somewhere where people can go, yeah, I guess me too. And
see, the brain is a highly overrated organ. Even though Woody Allen said it was his second favorite.
Right, the brain.
It's way down the list on my, for me.
Right, it's often referred to as radio station K-schmutz, or whatever. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. And what you should know is that what happens in your head, even though, great stuff comes out of brains, we create all this stuff, it's lies. It's pretty much lies which are fed in there by all sorts of other stuff.
Right.
The ego, like you said, edging God out, edging out the light. And
the great stuff comes from somewhere else. And most of the great masters, when you ask them where did Beethoven get his music, or where did, they say it just came. It's not like somebody taught them. I mean, nobody taught Mozart to write symphonies at age 4 or 6 or whatever he did. So we're all tapped into that greatness.
Yeah.
That's my favorite message in the book.
Right, okay.
We're all genius. We all have a spark of the divine. We all have a gift.
Right.
We all have multiple gifts, and that we were meant to develop and then
give away.
And I asked the people who come to see me, what would the world be like if people were tapped into their gifts and were giving them away without any regard for what was in it for them? It's and the head, again, is all about what's in it for me.
What's in it for me. The ego, really, and if you're out there going ego, which is not necessarily I'm better than you are type of, it's really a self-running program, which is keeps you in unworthiness and I don't haves to try and fill up that hole inside you. Listen to that voice. It's going, I don't have any hole inside me. That ego voice to keep you going for money, pleasure, sex, power, to try to fill that up.
Because it's always telling me I'm separate from everything and everybody. So in order for me to succeed, I have to step on people, step over people.
Right.
And this is again all not true. I speak to first graders. That's kind of my favorite.
Wow.
Audience. And they get all my jokes. And I ask them and you might think this is a heavy question for a first grader, but I'll ask them something like, is the universe in balance? And they'll say, duh. Sure.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how do you know? They said, well, the sun comes up every day.
Right.
Seasons change, the planet spins. Hey, last week we watched this nature show. The wolves stopped having babies when the deer population was down. I said, well, that's really interesting. Do you think they read about that in Wolf Quarterly? They said, no, something maintains this universe in balance, in an intricate state of balance. I said, well, how much do you think people have to get, form committees and discuss it and study and stuff for the balance in the universe to be maintained? They said, we don't have to do anything. And I say, you're right. What happens when we do something? What happens when we think there's a problem that we need to fix, or there's something we need to manipulate for our benefit? They say we mess it up.
We mess it up. That's phenomenal.
And I say, again, that's true.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Because, of course, in chiropractic philosophy, we believe that they're being run by the same intelligence that's maintaining a universe in balance. Do you think you're not in balance because God had a bad day and made you wrong? Or do you think perhaps there's something like a subluxation that's preventing you from expressing 100% of the light and life, divine light that you were meant to express? And usually they get that answer right.
Now, I wish I knew what a moment was so I could go be in one. I hear they're holding auditions for the next moment, and you can be in the next moment. We just missed it. And another one's coming, and I don't know. Right, the random next one. I know, of course, that you are an avid, as am I, a Marx Brothers fan. I'm not only a Marx Brothers fan, but I happen to bring this here. There we go. Have you ever seen that?
I have.
You have seen this?
I
Okay.
have.
Not only a. Let's see if we can get the face here.
And he speaks just like Harpo, too.
That's right. Harpo speaks. At one point, your illustrious host, I, Marco Harpo, the world's foremost living Harpo Marx. Oh gosh! And boy, I remember the day of this shoot. Because we were sampling all the different kinds of brandy. That was I think we should do that. We should get somebody in there and get all
I think I'm macabre enough.
I think on our next show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to activate our macabre fields. You're going to want to tune in for that. Yes. Would anyone tune in for a show? They're going to show us, honey, come on. They're going to learn to teach us how to activate our macabre field.
We're going to do it aura car wash.
Right, and then we'll activate our kundalinis and our chakras too. Hey, how about anything else you'd like to cover before we? What do you want to tell the folks here?
To tell the folks that they're all very special. That's the most important message I have for anybody.
How do they know they're special? I don't think they're worthy.
Well, stop thinking. Stop thinking, and you'll know you're worthy.
Wow.
Because, like Marco said, when you're thinking what your parents told you. What you're thinking about the 200 no's for every yes that you heard when you were a kid.
Right.
So just realize that this universe is one song, and we're all notes in this song, and there's no more important note in the universe than you.
May we find it together.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marco Watkins here on the Inner Limit. Thanks a lot. All right, you weren't ready for that with that credit. Okay, Stu, Marco, exit 2. Stu, you will come back again.
Absolutely, sir.
And again.
Whenever
and
you'll
again.
have me.
But it'll always be the same time. There's only one time, and that is now. The moment. Let's be... Not yet.
You said now.
No. No. I mean, we're gonna say goodbye. Yeah, very funny. We'll put it on our blooper reel. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye. And, of course, it'll always be the same time. That moment is now, the only time you have. I'm Marco. Thanks for joining us. See us next time on The Inner Limit. There you go. I'll just fade it to black from there. Izzy, thank you.
It's a wrap.
Where's my Reynolds wrap? No kidding. I bring the Reynolds wrap for that. Yeah, it's a wrap.
Well done, sir.
The great Oz has spoken.